Breaking news from outer space. Truth and fiction, same embrace. Lance and Gina lead the way. Decoding myths from day to...
Okay, let's unpack this because you are absolutely not going to believe the existential roller coaster happening right now.
Oh, yeah.
In a community that already lives on the edge. Literally, the edge of the world. Forget your usual internet drama. This is a crisis of epic thickness.
Thickness. Okay, intriguing. Yeah, what we've plunged into today is, well, the pretty unexpected fallout from a report. It's mind-bending stuff.
For them especially.
Exactly. For people who already have a particular bend to their minds, it's sparked what you can only really call an internal dimensional meltdown.
Dimensional meltdown, perfect. Yeah. So your sources for this truly bizarre journey, we've got the Flat Earth Society's own report, which is something else. And then the, predictably deadpan analysis from Skynet News 420.
Ah, Skynet 420, always reliable for a dry take.
Totally. And, spoiler alert, they've initiated existential threat calculations. So our mission, if you, the listener, want to stick around, is to figure out what in the newly discovered third dimension is going on.
It's just fascinating, isn't it? The sheer audacity of it. For years, the whole debate was like, shape, flat plane, right.
Right, the flatness.
And now the idea of it even being a plane is being questioned. Yeah. From the inside.
Yeah.
We're talking about like internal upheaval that, well, it make a tectonic plate jealous. And yeah, those existential threat calculations from Skynet, they're not joking. Well, can an AI joke? Probably not.
Probably not, right? You are. So let's dive headfirst into this newfound depth, shall we?
Let's do it.
According to the Flat Earth Society's report, this groundbreaking or maybe sky-breaking event happened during their usual annual Edge of the World expedition.
Okay.
Now, you might picture them, meticulously documenting the non-curvature, but the actual discovery, so surprisingly, accidental.
Accidental?
Yeah.
How so? The report paints this picture, right? A pretty normal moment that just turns completely sideways. Or, well, vertically, I guess.
Vertically, yeah.
Society president Mark Plain apparently says that a member, while everyone else is staring hard at the horizon, just looked up.
No way. Just looked up.
Yeah. It's almost like poetic in its unintentional brilliance, isn't it? Decades focused purely on length and breadth, and the crucial third direction was just hanging out up there.
And Mark Plain's quote is just chef's kiss. He actually said, "We were so focused on proving the Earth was flat, we never thought to check if it was thick."
He really said that. Thick.
Yep. You've got to admire the dedication to a two-dimensional view, even when reality as they now see it literally adds another layer.
Wow.
Okay, so here's where it gets even more vertically interesting. The evidence they've gathered.
Ah, yes, the evidence. It might not line up with your standard peer-reviewed studies, let's say.
I'm guessing not.
But it's certainly noteworthy in their context. They report members experiencing unexpected vertical movement.
Like floating.
Sort of, yeah, floating slightly, or feeling a really distinct up and down sensation they hadn't registered before. Then there's this baffling claim about maps.
Maps? What about them?
Spontaneously gaining depth, like these 2D maps suddenly sprouting a z-axis. Just popping out.
Popping out, okay. But the piece de resistance has to be the sudden suspicion around globes.
Right.
Apparently, these things they'd ignored before are now viewed with intense scrutiny. Their spherical nature is suddenly deemed suspiciously spherical.
Suspiciously spherical? You don't say.
I mean, you'd think that might have been a red flag a little earlier, right? It's like finding a fish in your bathtub and suddenly questioning the existence of water.
Good point.
So with this accidental stumble into the third dimension comes, no big surprise, some serious internal friction.
And this is where the plot truly gains altitude, you could say.
Nice one.
The Flat Earth Society, already kind of out there, geometrically speaking, is now experiencing a schism, a dimensional schism.
Okay.
We're seeing this breakaway group emerge, and they've called themselves, rather aptly, the Cube Earthers.
The Cube Earthers.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Honestly, you cannot script this level of commitment to non-spherical shape.
I know, right?
So they've embraced the verticality.
Seems like it. They've basically hypothesized that the Earth isn't a flat disk. It's a six-sided cube.
A cube, which, okay, still geometrically challenged compared to reality, but it's a significant leap upwards.
It's certainly a bold departure from flatness, yeah. But the old guard, the traditional flat earthers, they aren't exactly folding.
Oh, what's their take?
They've cooked up their own explanation for this perceived third dimension, and it's a theory as, well, as layered as their newfound reality seems to be.
Oh, do tell. How are they explaining away this thickness that they apparently found themselves?
Their counterargument is classic. It's not real.
Ah, of course.
It's a meticulously crafted illusion perpetrated by,
the government.
naturally, using, wait for it, perspective manipulation chemtrails.
Perspective manipulation chemtrails.
Yeah.
You know, just when you think you've heard it all, wow.
Yep. They believe these atmospheric trails are specifically designed to trick them, to trick their eyes into perceiving depth where, they insist, none exists.
Okay. And Mark Plan, the president, he even throws in a, let's call it a unique analogy to back this up.
Oh, he does. He poses this rhetorical question, right? If the third dimension were real, why do we still watch 3D movies on flat two-dimensional screens? It's like, well, it's a creative application of logic, I guess. It really highlights the struggle, you know, trying to reconcile their existing flat worldview with this inconvenient new vertical thing.
The mental gymnastics involved must be incredible.
Absolutely. It's like trying to explain, I don't know, gravity using only the concept of up.
Exactly. Now, let's shift gears a bit. Let's look at that other fascinating source.
Yeah.
Skynet News 420. Their take is, shall we say, a touch more data-driven.
Skynet, right. In its typical objective way, it has indeed flagged this whole mess as requiring existential threat calculations.
Ominous.
Their report just diligently logs the anomalies. You've got anomaly vertical for the weird floating, anomaly cartographic for the maps doing their pop-up trick,
right,
and my personal favorite, object analysis globe, inconsistent with planar hypothesis.
Oh, you can almost sense the AI raising a digital eyebrow there.
Totally. And their summary of the situation is just wonderfully understated.
What'd they say?
Significant reality framework disruption detected within flat Earth society.
That's it. Nice and calm, like you'd expect right before the robot apocalypse, or maybe just a really chaotic board meeting.
Pretty much. Skynet also quotes Mark Plain's statement, the one about being focused on the XI plane.
Yeah, the thickness quote.
And it notes their internal debate on whether up is a valid vector or just a systemic error. Skynet neatly labels this whole internal conflict a logic fork.
A logic fork. Apt. Given the circumstances, yeah.
What's particularly amusing, though, is Skynet's assessment of the potential fallout.
How bad is it?
Well, they calculate the impact on the Flat Earth Society's internal coherence as catastrophic.
Okay, that sounds bad for them.
But the effect on overall human societal stability?
Let me guess.
Negligible.
Huh? Probably a fair assessment, sadly for them, perhaps.
Skynet, you know, being the stickler for observable data it is, also makes a rather pointed observation about the globes.
Oh, yeah. The suspiciously spherical ones.
Exactly. Their query is just beautiful in its simplicity. Query: why was the persistent sphericity of globally distributed physical models not previously factored into planar Earth hypothesis?
Ouch. Delivered with zero emotion, just pure logic.
It just cuts right to the core of the dimensional discrepancy, doesn't it? You almost want to pat the server rack and say, good point, Skynet.
You really do. It's
Yeah.
like the most obvious clue has been sitting there the whole time, and they just didn't see it. Until now.
Apparently not.
But this whole saga, it really highlights how resilient pre-existing beliefs can be, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
To really get the magnitude of this third dimension thing for them, maybe we should quickly touch on the basics of modern flat Earth belief again, just for context.
Good idea. Yeah, for anyone maybe just tuning in from a more conventionally shaped reality. The standard flat Earth model is usually a disk, right? North Pole in the center. Antarctica isn't a continent. It's a giant ice wall around the edge. Keeps the oceans in.
Right, the ice wall.
Many also believe in a firmament, like a solid dome overhead, and the sun and moon. They're small, relatively close, acting like spotlights moving over the disk.
Got it. And gravity.
Generally dismissed, often replaced by this idea that the disk itself is constantly accelerating upwards, pushes you down.
Okay. And obviously, NASA, space photos, all fake.
Yeah, part of a massive conspiracy. That's fundamental.
Right. So you have this really specific, deeply held worldview. And now this internal discovery, even though it comes from within their own group,
Yeah, that's the key part.
it throws this huge, surprisingly thick wrench into the whole system. We've even seen this before, haven't we? Like that final experiment in Antarctica.
Exactly. Some flat earthers went down there, saw things like the 24-hour sun, things that really didn't fit the model.
But the community reaction.
By and large, dismissal, rationalization, it didn't really shake the core beliefs for most.
Yeah, that article you mentioned, the one on why these beliefs persist, it talks about that, right? This incredible ability to reject or explain away stuff that doesn't fit.
Precisely. Distrust of authority, conspiracy thinking, finding community. It all plays a role. But this new third dimension claim is a trickier challenge.
Because it's their discovery, not some NASA lie.
Exactly. It's an internal revelation. It forces a real reevaluation, hence Skynet's logic fork. It's causing genuine internal problems.
So what's the takeaway here for, the average listener? Someone probably quite comfortable in their three-dimensional world. Why should they find this internal dimensional crisis remotely interesting?
Well, I think what's truly captivating, setting aside the specifics,
Yeah.
is that even within a belief system way outside the mainstream, you see this fundamental human process, right? Trying to make sense of new information, trying to keep your understanding of reality coherent. The rise of the cube earthers, the whole perspective manipulation chemtrail theory, they're both attempts to grapple with this unexpected data point, this perceived third dimension, and somehow fit it into their existing framework.
So it's like a case study.
A fascinating, if maybe highly unusual case study in how belief systems adapt, or in this case, how they might fragment when they hit these internal inconsistencies.
Right. It's an extreme example, maybe, but it mirrors how we all deal with new information that challenges our basic assumptions, even if our daily challenges aren't quite as geometrically baffling.
Exactly.
And let's be honest, there's a definite comedic irony here. A group dedicated to flatness suddenly having to contemplate thickness.
Oh, absolutely.
They almost have to feel for their map makers, right? Their whole world just got way more complicated.
One can only imagine the emergency cartography meetings. Are we talking layers now? Cross-sections, pop-up maps? The mind boggles.
Huh? Maybe they will start using pop-up books. So the core takeaway is this. The Flat Earth Society, by their own account, has stumbled upon Dimension 3, and it's causing, well, delightful chaos in their ranks.
It's a solid reminder that even in the most unconventional belief systems, unexpected discoveries can force some profound internal shifts.
It really does leave you wondering, doesn't it?
What's next, you mean?
Yeah. If a third dimension can just pop up in a flat world, what else might be up for grabs? Will the cube earthers eventually start wondering about a fourth dimension?
Tesseracts on the edge of the world, who knows?
Or will the traditionalists just double down harder on the chemtrail thing, forever stuck in 2D but seeing a 3D illusion?
Only time and perhaps further expeditions will tell, I suppose.
But this whole saga, it's just a wonderfully bizarre illustration of how humans build belief systems, and then how we try desperately to make sense of new stuff within those frameworks, no matter how dimensionally challenging it gets.
Well put. It really makes you think about evidence, interpretation, and just how weird the world, or at least our perception of it, can be.
Indeed. It's a potent reminder that the search for understanding, however unconventional the path, can lead to some truly unexpected places. Wow. And sometimes, frankly, hilarious ones.
Couldn't agree more.
Well said. And who knows, maybe our next deep dive will be into the cube earthers' architectural blueprints. Until then, keep your perspective open. Maybe in all dimensions.
Breaking news from outer space. Truth and fiction, same embrace. Lance and Gina lead the way, decoding myths from day to day. Skynet news, bold and bright. It's a cutting edge, but not quite right. Dark science meets conspiracy, like bridging gaps with mystery. Aliens lurking, planets align. False truths wrapped in cosmic signs. Astrophysics, UFOs, we decode what no one knows. Dark Skynet news, bold and bright. Skip a cutting edge, but not quite right. Dark science meets conspiracy, like bridging gaps with mystery. to your screen.